What's up YouTube? Welcome to my channel. This is NIO Ball and I'm Brendan McCann. On this channel I'm obviously going to be very closely following NIO and some other stocks along the way. Now as always, if you are new to the channel, I suggest you at least go back watch my first video because it really does explain well my position in NIO and why I'm so bullish. But for today, what is going on? Well, as we know, President Trump is unwell still. He's not quite out of the woods. But on top of that, a tweet from him yesterday saying that the stimulus package is going to be postponed till after the election just absolutely took the stock market for a nosedive. But what do we do in this situation? Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do at the end of the video. Just before that though, I want to go through the 1 millionth battery swap for NIO and why I think it's so significant and what it really means, because I think it's really been underplayed in the media for obvious reasons. There's a lot more important stuff going on right now. But for NIO, I really do think this is a big deal. So let's get into the video and I'll explain why I think this is so significant for NIO and for all us NIO bulls. At this juncture, I need to tell you I'm not a financial advisor. Anything in this video is just my personal opinion and not to be taken as financial advice. If you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I predicted the 1 millionth battery swap would be announced by NIO by the 8th or 9th of October or slightly earlier. Now, I'm not going to pretend to be a genius. Some very basic mathematics told me it was going to happen around this time. And I'm sure most of all you out there also knew it was going to happen. But I have to say, for me, I really do think it is a big deal. Now, to explain why I think this, I'm going to go through some figures of the battery swaps that have happened and over what time period. And I think in conclusion, the results may surprise you unless you've delved into this yourself.
NIO debuted its first battery swap station on December 16th, 2017. On May 20th, 2018, the first battery swap station in Shenzhen was put into operation. Since then, NIO has carried on adding to its battery swap infrastructure, and to date, NIO have 155 battery swap stations located all throughout China.
So let's go through the figures of the battery swaps that NIO has done over the last few years. And I believe it's going to give us some sort of idea of how NIO is growing with this technology. Right, so let's start at the beginning. Between May 2018 and May 2020, NIO performed 500,000 battery swaps. Now this works out to be around 730 days. And at the time, or at the end of that time period, there are around 42,000 NIO cars on the road, which means we can work out they were doing around 684 swaps per day. So if you work this out, it ends up being around 1.6% of all NIO users were using the battery swap every day. So moving forward, between May 2020 and August 2020, NIO performed 300,000 battery swaps, and this worked out to be over about 87 days. And at the time, or at the end of that time period, there were 53,000 NIO cars on the road. So working that out, it comes to around 3,448 battery swaps per day. And then from that, we get around 6.5% for how many NIO owners were using the battery swaps daily. And lastly, between August 2020 and October 2020, NIO performed 200,000 battery swaps, and that works out to be around 46 days. So at the time, or at the end of that time period, there were 58,000 cars on the road. Now we can work that out to be around 4,347 battery swaps. And then from that, we can work out that it's around 7.49% of all NIO owners were using the battery swap system daily. Now, looking at this chart, I think the figures speak for themselves. When the question keeps coming up, will the battery swap technology be adopted? I think that question's null and void. Clearly, 7.5% of all NIO owners are using the battery swap stations daily. But everyone's saying it was trialled in the US, why is it going to work in China? Now, there's a very simple answer to this question. It's the rate of adoption of technology. Now, from my time in China, I can tell you this is how the average 40 to 60-year-old person uses an iPad in China. And this is how the average 40 to 60-year-old person uses an iPad in the UK or the United States. Cup of tea? Cake?
I'm on it. Sorry.
All jokes aside, the facts are we've all got friends or relatives, normally sort of my age, 40 or over, that just won't adopt technology and they're completely adverse to any sort of change. It's just not the case in China. In just 5 years, all transactions pretty much in China went from cash transactions to electronic transactions using either WeChat or Alipay. Now, similar systems have tried to be adopted in the UK or the States, like Apple Pay, and it's just not widely used. Now, let me get to the point. I think the figures speak for themselves. Clearly, the battery swap stations are working, and I think they're going to carry on growing over the next few years and far into the future. But can it be adopted overseas in the US or in the UK? Well, honestly, I don't know. I think there'll be a few, and if it takes off, then great, but I don't think it probably will take off that well overseas, but we don't need it to. All we need it to do is excel in China, and if that happens, all of us will be getting the returns on our investment that we want. So that's the battery swap section over with. Let's take a look at what's going on right now, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. But before I do so, it's very important I point out that anyone will tell you time in the market is better than trying to time the market, which is part of what I'm going to be doing in the next few weeks. So I'll tell you my position. If you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I hold 5,000 shares of NIO, which I bought at around $5.80. Now, I will never touch those shares for many years, at least 3 years. But when it dropped yesterday from, I think it was at $21.70, and it dropped all the way down to, I think, around $20.60, I saw that as a buying opportunity because I had some cash on hand. So I was buying on the way down, and my average price ended up at around $21.10, I believe. And I bought 2,500 shares. So moving forward, what I'm going to do over the next weeks is buy and sell in between $21 and $22. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because of all the good news NIO's had. I believe that it's not going to drop too far. And because of all the turmoil we're going through, it's not going to go up where I think it should be heading towards 23. Now, I could be completely wrong and it could drop to 16 tomorrow. And on the flip side, there could be a bit of news from NIO saying they're building a factory and moving to Europe tomorrow, and it could jump up to 30. So anything I say is 100% not financial advice, it's just my opinion. And it's the risk I'm willing to take. So for everyone out there, always do your own research, do your own analysis, and make your own decision on what you think you want to do. Right, so we're coming towards the end of the video, guys. If you haven't liked and subscribed at this stage, please do, because it really does help out the channel. And add a comment below. What do you think is going to happen with this whole election thing coming up and the stimulus package being postponed till after? And let me know, do you think me buying and selling NIO is stupid and I should just stay where I am, or sell and get out? In the description below, I've added a link to Trading 212. If you use that link, we both get free shares, which is great. So finally, I just want to say, just watch your investments out there, guys. It's extremely volatile. I mean, who knows what's going to happen over the next weeks and months with tweets being sent out and this election going on. It's ridiculously volatile. So just be careful. And on that note, guys, be safe. And if you can't be safe, be lucky.